This next video here shows a lot of the teachers thinking out loud when it comes to unpacking their standards and going through the process either with me or with each other. And you get some pretty good questions when it comes to looking at either informational text. I do believe the math teacher was looking more at informational text and the math standards. She actually went to the Maryland website that I used and actually looked at the math standards and how they unpack those and used that. So um, she looked at a combination of those when she was starting to develop some of the ideas for her plan. And then you look at the art teacher, and she actually used this because she wanted to use a future um, uh, assignment that she was doing, a future unit, and how she was going through that. And she used this as a tool to start working on that. So it was a pretty productive professional development. I have the documents on Edmodo, and I show some of those on the video at the end as well. And then I have attached the rest of these documents onto the website.
RI1 and RI2. And so what the idea here is that with our DBQs, we're going to be doing those two. You're going to be doing it at the 9-10 level, mine are the 11-12 level. These are the unpacked material. We analyze text clues that affect meaning.
Right.
We analyze relevant denitive, connotative, and figurative language. We evaluate available evidence for thoroughness, completeness, and relevance. All these things are exactly what we do on DBQ.
Right.
Now, the reading side, we don't have the writing.
Right.
We don't have the writing standards, so we're only going to apply the reading standards here. We could do the writing standards too, but we don't have them on the sheet, so we could add those later on. So then our overarching ideas are the things that it means, and actually, we're the same ones we use from To Kill a Mockingbird. These would be the exact same ones. We're using various sources to draw conclusions to why those sources were developed and what they showed about a particular idea.
Did you type that in there?
I did. I changed what he had, and I put a particular idea or event instead of, I can't remember exactly what he had, but for us, we have different DBQs about an idea or an event that occurred. Like the Salem Witch Trial is the event that occurred in one of mine, but an idea would be, should we, when the one's about the amendments, that's an idea, not really an event. So we could use it for both of those. And then media can be used to present information to inform an audience about an event. That's really still one of the ideas we're still doing because we have the different types of documents that we're using. And so it'd be the same thing. I was trying to think of another overarching idea, but they're not overarching, they're specific. Those are really what we're doing too.
Okay. All right, so what we're doing is we're having kids analyze the diet of a student in the class, whatever, the kids will turn them in, and then students will analyze each other's diets, not knowing who it is. And then they're going to replan the diet, analyze it for its missing nutrients, replan the diet, and reformulate it basically, and make sure that they follow the RDAs, rewrite the diet, justify the food items that they've chosen, why they've chosen them, and to ensure that they make all the RDAs.
Okay, so your overarching ideas then, various sources can be used in determining the requirements in which foods can essentially.
Yeah, see, we're in the process of writing this. So, and in which foods can the essential nutrients be found?
Okay, all right, so that'll work. And then I could use it. Oh, media can be used to present information to inform an audience about the diet plan and justification. Well, yeah, but I mean that's.
So they've got to figure out how to present it to the class, not just stand up there. And then now we're in the process of writing the essential questions. How can the diet improve his or her diet to ensure that he meets the RDAs? How can a diet? And I was going to go along something like, how can you make a diet and ensure the student's going to follow it? If you're choosing broccoli and spinach, they're not going to follow it. So how can you make a diet that a student will actually follow is going to be that one. And then, I don't know, we haven't thought about it.
Oh, that's good.
What I took away from these two groups that were thinking and kind of bouncing ideas off of me is that they were doing a really good job with coming up with those essential questions and expanding on those essential questions off of their overarching ideas. So they really got the idea down of how it all kind of fleshes out. would be interesting to see is in the future how they take those overarching ideas and develop it into assessments, and what kind of rubrics they use, and projects that they would use to really make the learning authentic and really.
Class, I'm going to be presenting on unpacking an image using just basic shapes and visual literacy skills in conjunction with a graphic novel. So we're just doing kind of like small lessons, like half an hour. That's it. So basically, I have to teach an 80-minute class in half an hour, where they will just take basic colors, construction paper, cut them into shapes. We're going to talk about graphic novel layout, but before that I'll talk about like basic elements and principles and just using shapes. One artist, her name's Molly Bang, she wrote a book called Picture This, and she's a children's book illustrator, and essentially she just takes shapes. She did, excuse me, Little Red Riding Hood, and she has various shapes, rectangular shapes in the background for like the trees. And then in the foreground, she's got a triangle for the wolf.
.com. So you can see here is a bunch of teachers that ended up turning in different documents to me. And I can open it up and I can take a look at what they gave me. So if I take a look at the math teacher, Mr. Boyer, you can look at the standard he looked at for informational text. And it says, determine two or more central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of the text, including how they interact and build upon one another, so on and so forth. He took the standards here and he unpacked it in the category right here. And he developed his overarching ideas, and he applied it towards the concept of math. So his interpretation of the literary informational text was media can be used to represent information in a 3D format to explain the volume of a solid of revolution or a cross-sectional volume. And then the other thing he said was students need to know the basic method of finding volume. Now, if this is an endured learning, that would mean that they would be able to take the concept of this and apply it on their own. Okay. So what are the things that he uses as essential questions to transfer that idea? He says, how do we use volume in a daily life? Can students develop their own problem and solutions for a volume problem? And why are volumes important to me? So I think essential questions he's done a really good job on. His overarching ideas are pretty solid in terms of where he's going with his endured learning concepts. One that I particularly liked was the art teachers. And I have that one pulled up here. And as you can see here, it says unpacking standards. And she took some of the same standards that I have in my examples. We have integrate and evaluate content presented in diverse formats, write informative explanatory texts, and then make strategic use of digital media. So she went beyond just using informational text. She has reading, writing, and speaking and listening. And so she took the speaking, the essential skills here, and then she created overarching ideas. And I really like how she worded hers. Unpacking an image through the knowledge of visual literacy using vocabulary, compare and contrast skills and discussion, use of basic shapes and solid colors to represent basic imagery in order to tell a story, and use critique skills to reflect work. And then how she unpacked those and created questions she has here. How can basic shapes and colors represent meaning in a story? How is society able to read an image with little to no visual art background? And what is the importance of reflecting on the meaning of various visual examples, including your own? So you can see she's well on her way of developing some pretty potent material with these kind of questions in mind. And I think those really branch well into the overarching ideas that she has. Now for the rest of these, if you want to take a look at them, I have them uploaded onto the website, and you can see the different types of unpacking that we can go through, from math to social studies. And we also have physical education and special ed as well.